Hello guys, my name is Thanda Xaba I. On today's video, I want to talk about something close to my heart, and that is God. I want to talk about how you can incorporate God in your child's life. Whether you're a homeschooling family or a non-homeschooling family, it doesn't really matter. If you're prioritizing God in your family and you want that for your kids, you want to teach your kids about God and godly values and all of that. So stay tuned. I will share 3 things that I feel are so important, and I believe they are helping us to incorporate God in our day-to-day with our kids. The first thing that I believe is important is to help children understand how things work. How do things get done? Just helping them understand that process. I know you might be saying, but Thanda, what does that have to do with God? You'll see just now. Just understanding the concept of how things done, you can understand a lot about God. Firstly, when you want to do something, whatever task that you want to do, you always have a vision. You always have an idea of what you want at the end. So that's like the first step, that if you want to do something, you must have a vision. So you must know where you want to go. And as Christians, you can then introduce God in a sense that you tell your kids whatever that you want to do, and then you present that vision to God. So you pray about it. You pray about that vision, the end goal. You have not started doing the work as yet. You're still maybe in your mind, still dreaming about it, but already you're presenting it to God so that God can guide you and give you the necessary resources that you need maybe to execute that vision. I'll make a simple example. Let's say you want to have a trip to the zoo. So that's like your vision, that you want to go to the zoo. So you tell or you discuss that with your kids. And when you pray about it, basically you're praying for God's provision and for God's protection. You know, as you're about to plan and do that, whatever thing that you want to do, you need God to give you the resources that you need. Maybe it might be money that you need, or just wisdom on how you can do things, and the protection on your way there, and the protection even when you get there, you know, because a lot of things can happen on your way and also when you get to wherever you're planning to. So the second thing is to plan. When you're doing something, you already have a vision, now you are planning. So we said we want to go to the zoo, now we need to plan. What do we need to go to the zoo, and check everything, really, the conditions at the zoo, how much do they need, who pays, who doesn't pay, how much do you need to pay, and you're planning the money, like getting there, how are we going to get there, are we going to drive there, are we going to use public transport, planning all those things. Doing those things with your kids is going to help them understand how things done. So that's the second step. Now you are planning to do those things. So during the planning process, you need to make your kids aware of what is acceptable and not acceptable. Like, for example, when you get to the zoo, you can't be maybe feeding the animals, or you can't be petting the animals, you can't be doing this and this and that, so that they understand what is expected of them. So you explain the restrictions, the rules, and you can even go through everything together with your kids, maybe finding out from the website or from the pamphlets or from whatever, but then you make them understand. So it's like they're preparing their minds and everything really for what's ahead. So they get to understand, okay, it's not happening as yet, but we're planning for that. The weather, you check the weather forecast for that day or for the days when you'll be traveling. And if the weather is like this, then maybe we should wear these kind of clothes, that kind of stuff. So that is part of the planning. And then the last one is basically the hard work, the execution, when you get to do the actual work itself. So it's like 3 stages in the execution of the task now. So the execution of the task is now the actual day, when you're preparing the kids, bathing them, preparing them for the trip, preparing the food and putting them in their car seats and all the hard work. So it's the hard work that is now taking place to accomplish that vision, you know, of going to the zoo. We are finally doing it, but now we're putting in the hard work. In my opinion, this is similar to what God did when he created the world. God said, and then basically the God Trinity, the Trinity said, and then God said, let us do this, you know. So there was like that, there was that vision that God wanted to see something, and then he planned like, let's do this, and then he started doing the hard work. So it's that's just simplified for every task that we do. It can be any task at all, because I believe in any task we need to apply those steps in order for us to do that successfully. So this will teach a child a number of things, you know, about God's instructions and waiting, warnings, and there are a lot of things that you can get an opportunity to teach a child about God indirectly during this phase. So now I'm going to move on to point number 2. Point number 2 is introducing or teaching your kids attitude of gratitude. So it's basically teaching them to be grateful for what they have, to be grateful and thankful for the things that they have in their lives. This might sound simple, but things like please and thank you, they go a long way, in making a child aware that the world doesn't revolve around them, and they should request for things, and when they receive something they should thank the person who did it. You can't just take. You must learn to be thankful, to show gratitude to that person's hard work or that person's whatever that they've done for you. For example, if you're giving a child food, I believe it's a good habit to teach them to thank you. Like, I cooked the food, I did the hard work, it's really hard cooking for you. So teaching a child to thank the person who prepared the food, thank you for preparing the food, and ultimately you teaching them to acknowledge that things don't just happen by magic. Someone worked hard to get the thing there, so they should appreciate their efforts, and also thank God for giving provision to their parents to be able to buy food and everything that's whatever thing that's maybe they are grateful for. It can be food, can be clothes, can be anything that they are grateful for. So them understanding that they thank you as a parent, thank you for preparing the food, mom, and then they also thank God for providing the food, because now they understand that God is the ultimate provider. He's like and even their parents, they rely on God to give them the resources that they need. So the way we do it in our family, the kids will thank you, whoever prepared the food. Thank you, mom, thank you, dad, thank you, aunts, thank you, whoever who prepared the food. And then when they eating the food, they bless the food, and then they also thank God. So each and every child, I know it can look chaotic, but I just want it to be their personal habits, So it's not like one child will pray for all of them. So each and every child, they will pray for themselves. And I believe we're doing this because they're still young, Once this culture is like in them, then you can have maybe one person praying for the food and all of that, and we do that sometimes. But I'm just saying, on a day-to-day basis, that they know that when they take the food, they should bless the food and thank God for the food. It's not like I'm gonna wait for mommy to bless the food and thank God for the food. No, yourself, you must do it as a child. Thank God for the food. In increasing your child's knowledge about God, your child needs to know who is God, and we are responsible as parents to help them, to guide them in discovering and in learning more about God. So reading a Bible together with your child is something that I highly recommend and I love doing. Reading Bible stories together is something that I love doing as well. I also have another video where I was sharing tips on how to make the stories interesting. So you can check that video out. This will give you some great ideas on how to make the Bible stories interesting for a child. And on that video, I do a lot of comparison with the Bible stories from the kids' books and the Bible stories from the Bible. So do check out that video after watching this one. A practical example of doing this is introducing Bible study maybe in your nighttime routine. Before you go to pray, or before you sleep, you read the Bible and you pray. So you're introducing God, and it's like the last thing that the kids get to talk about or think about before they go to sleep. Or maybe in the morning, like when you wake up, you read the Bible and then you pray, or both. So whatever that you think will be possible for you to do with your child, just do that on a daily basis, and those things, they go a long way and they will grow them. So basically it's like taking our kids back to God, who's the person who gave us the kids in the first place. So just see what works for you and your family, and then try and introduce this on a daily basis. Also, another thing you could do, you could choose one day maybe per week, say on Monday or whatever day that you know that you won't be busy as a family, and then just fellowship together. You read the Bible together and you explain things. And reading a Bible at home and explaining things is not the same as at church. You allow kids to ask questions. Allow them to ask questions, because when they ask questions, they get to understand fully what you're talking about. And don't be afraid as a parent if you don't know the answers. Like, we also parented for the first time, hey. We don't know all the answers. So if you don't know the answers, it's still okay. Allow your kids to ask questions, and you can look for the answers together as a family, or you can look for the answers, you and your child. Like, I don't know, they will ask, why did God do this, or what happened before this and what's not. Then if you don't know, you just tell them that I don't know, and then you're gonna go search and look for those answers. And in that process, you will see your bond as a family, and also you will also get to understand the stories better, and the child will also get to understand the story better, and most likely they won't easily forget that story. Well guys, that's it. Those are my 3 points. I hope you got some inspiration, some motivation to gently introduce God into your child's life. If that is important to you, then I believe you should start as early as possible. It's never too early. as early so as early as possible. Just gently introduce God into your child's life, and before you know it, it's gonna be their choice soon. Okay, I hope to see you on the next video. If you enjoy this kind of content, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you don't want to comment, just like the video, then I know, okay, so many people like this video. And then I will see you on the next one. All my social media links are in the description box. Please do follow me there, and then we'll talk. I'll see you next week. Bye.